V'rishus Rosh HaYeshiva, Choshev Rabbonim, V'chol HaKol HaKadosh Hazeh. I stand before you tonight to convey to you my first-hand experience with the work of Lifeline. I stand here as a yachid, but unfortunately I'm a yachid among many others who benefit from and rely on this wonderful organization. My goal is to give you a small picture into what Lifeline means to me and to others in similar situations. Allow me to start from the beginning. It was the end of Tafshin Samach Tes, the beginning of a new school year. I was learning in yeshiva, my wife was teaching. We were proudly preparing to send off our oldest son to first grade, twin boys to primary, and 2 little girls to playgroup. We were preparing for the approaching Yom Hadin, with achonis of Torah, with achonis of Tefillah. We were mispalel, as I'm sure all of you were, that we should be zeiche to a year of aliyah, nachas, and gesund. But nothing could have prepared us for the devastating events that were to follow that Yom Hadin. The day after Yom Kippur, Tafshin Ayin, my daughter Sari Yecheved was diagnosed with Yena Machla. It is impossible for me to describe to you the feelings that overwhelm a person at such a moment. Lifeline was at our side immediately. Rabbi Fried, having learned of our plight, made a special trip from Lakewood to Philadelphia, arriving after midnight and staying with us till 2 or 3 a.m. He came to be mechazik us. He told us, yes, it will be a difficult road ahead, but Lifeline will be at our side to help in whichever way possible. He came to guide us. We did not know what should we tell the rest of the children that are innocently waiting for us to return home. He explained to us what their fears and concerns would be and told us how we should address them. His advice was priceless. When hearing of a family stricken with serious illness, a picture comes to mind. A picture of a family in disarray, almost dysfunctional, is what we imagine. But Lifeline ensures that this picture does not become a reality. Looking back, I realized I myself had no idea what my family's needs would be. But Lifeline knew. They had gone down this road before with many others, Rahmanul Itzlan, and they knew what it would take for my family to run as smoothly as possible. They set us up immediately with mothers' helpers to come to my home whenever the children are at home. These girls are driven to and from my house for the last 2 years. They come, play games with the children, do homework, serve supper, and sometimes even put the kids to sleep when we're not around. When I returned to yeshiva for Wintersman, people asked me, how are you able to come to yeshiva with all that's going on in your house? And the true answer is that it is all thanks to Lifeline. Only because I knew that my family was well taken care of was I able to come to yeshiva, and Baruch Hashem, I've been able to continue doing so for the last 2 years. And for this I owe a tremendous amount of hakaras hatov. Their help in the hospital knows no bounds. There's a room in the hospital called the kosher pantry, which Lifeline keeps fully stocked with meals, snacks, svarim, books, whatever it is that one may need while they're in the hospital. Meals are brought to us wherever we are. Imagine what it's like for a 5-year-old to have to stay for hours on end hooked up to IV, for chemotherapy, for hydration, or for anything of the sort. What's supposed to keep her busy? Whenever we are there, whether it was inpatient for a number of days or outpatient just for the day, we knew we could count on Lifeline, a representative of Lifeline, to come by and bring her toys, but not just any toys. They put their head to it, they put their hearts into it, to make sure that these were toys that she personally enjoyed and liked and would keep her entertained. Just a few blocks away from the hospital, there's a beautifully furnished apartment called the Chai House. This serves a gewaldige purpose. If both parents need to be near the hospital, but perhaps one is able to sneak out for the night, we knew we had a clean, comfortable, quiet place to go to for a desperately needed night's rest. But to our family, the Chai House has an additional meaning. Last winter, after a number of weeks that we were unable to be together for Shabbos, we were desperate to be together as a family. My children were desperate to be with us, and we were desperate to be with them. Through Lifeline, we arranged all our children should be able to come to stay near the hospital for Shabbos in this Chai house. We even got a pass on Shabbos day for Sarala to come out of the hospital and join us for the Shabbos Suda, where we sat together as a family, singing Zmiris. We spoke about the Parsha. It was a meridic feeling to spend time as a regular family, even if it was just for a short amount of time. Every family that Lifeline is involved with is assigned a case manager. The purpose of a case manager is to follow step by step. If we are inpatient, if we're outpatient, if we'd be returning home, what it is that we need at home. We are in touch with our case manager on a day-to-day basis, sometimes an hourly basis. Many of you have seen the brochure that Lifeline has. In the brochure, many of the things that we've already talked about are mentioned, but there are some things that just cannot be put down on a piece of paper. Rabbi Fried once told me, Meyer, if anything comes up, an emergency or a non-emergency, don't busy yourself with arrangements. There's just one phone call you have to make, and that is to Lifeline. Last summer, my daughter came down with a fever. It was late afternoon. The boys were just coming home from yeshiva, coming off the bus. The hospital told us we needed to come in right away. It was an emergency. We didn't know what to do, because Pung that day, the mother's helper that was to come to the house was someone that they never met before. And we just felt so badly leaving them all alone with someone that they weren't comfortable with. So I did exactly what Rabbi Fried told me to do. I called Lifeline. Our case manager told us, don't worry about it, you could go. I'll be in your house in a few minutes. She is someone that all my children know and are comfortable with, and we knew they would be happy with that plan. We mentioned to her in passing that one of the boys just came off the bus holding 2 lenses in his hands. His glasses were broken. About a half hour into our trip to CHOP, our case manager called us up. She said, I'm in your house. Baruch Hashem, all the children are happy. They're playing nicely. Everything is calm. And the child that needed his glasses fixed, I took him to the glasses store. His glasses are now okay. You could go b'menucha. Don't worry about what's going on back at home. Could you imagine what this did for us? Here, we had to run out on our children suddenly, and obviously we were nervous about the children back at home. But obviously we had to go. And she called us just to give us that peace of mind, to know that we could go b'menucha. When you make that call to Lifeline, you'll never hear from them, I'm sorry, but we don't do that. There is no particular guidelines that Lifeline has, and beyond that, they won't be of help. Last summer, we were with Sarala in the ICU. We needed a ride for my children to go up to join my in-laws for Shabbos in the country. My mother-in-law asked, is this something which Lifeline provides? And we found it almost humorous. Is this something which Lifeline provides? They'll hear that it's something which we need, and they'll do their best to make sure that they could help us. And sure enough, they found a ride up to the country for my children. When you make that call to Lifeline, it's never something which is insurmountable. No matter how difficult a feat, Lifeline makes sure it gets done. Last year, after Sarla came home from her initial visit in the hospital, we realized she would be unable to join her playgroup out of fear for germs. What was supposed to be with her? Home all by herself, looking at the 4 walls, obviously not feeling that well. What a pitiful life. We expressed our concern to Lifeline. They could have told us, I'm sorry, but what would you like us to do? We don't have unlimited funds to help you with. And you know what? To us, that would have been acceptable. But to Lifeline, saying we can't help you is never acceptable. Sure enough, they came up with a highly capable mora, with such koyach. She ran a classroom with just Sarala, davened with her, taught her the Aleph Beis, read her mitzvah notes. I'll never forget the smile on Sarala's face as she put on her knapsack and got ready to go down to our basement, a classroom of her own. I was amazed. How did they pull it off to find a girl that was the perfect fit to be able to run a classroom with just one girl? But then again, this year, they did exactly the same thing. Again, they came up with a Geshikta Mora. The Siyata Deshmaya was so obvious. And I think it's because they give it their all, and the Ribono Shel Olam helps. Nothing is too small or petty for Lifeline to get involved with. Before Purim, they'll call us up. Do all the children have Purim costumes? Before Pesach, they'll call up. Is there any errands that need to be done for Yontif? Is there something we could help you with? And I want to tell you, when you're in such a